The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he had sat down, his disciples came to him. He began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the land. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they insult you and persecute you, and utter every kind of evil against you falsely because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So I was born in 1965, and if we're putting labels on people, which is what we like to do to our generations, so we can, used to be you could just say, "Oh, kids these days," and shake your head, and you refer to them because how clueless they are and how much smarter we are than them. Over the years, we've given them labels, right? It all started out with the greatest generation. Not knocking them, just saying it's a pretty good jump out of the box to be called the greatest generation, right? So everybody else after that and before that is lacking. I'm sure those who came over on the Mayflower and who struggled through that are like an okay generation. And then those who fought in the Revolutionary War and fought for our independence, well, they're a pretty good nation. And then those who fought through the Civil War and tried to put the country back together after that, well, they did okay too, generation. And then we get to after the greatest generation comes the one, the baby boomers, right? So you're known for just being a bunch of babies, right? You were the product of people coming back from the war and being happy to see husbands and wives, and that's why you're here, because you were a celebration. And then the one where I'm on the edge of is Generation X. Well, that sounds horrible. I don't like being called Generation X. I've been reduced to a letter, and not even a good letter. I've been reduced to X. And then there's Generation Y. Why are you even here? I don't know, because it's the next letter after X. And I don't even remember what the next one is, but then there comes the hated ones, the millennials. Everything is the fault of the millennials. Right? So all these generations have all these things that we hang our hats on that define us. We did this then. Things were great then. Look at the cars then. Look at the cars then. And then look at the cars now. Wow, look at then we have our television shows that remind us of how great things were in the 50s. We have Leave It to Beaver. And then what was the one with Marcus Welby before he was Marcus Welby? Father knows best. Father knows best. And then we get to the 60s where it was all kind of crazy and stuff. We got I Love Lucy. We got the Desi Arnaz show. Things are just kind of kooky in the 60s. And then Norman Lear shows up in the 70s and starts dropping truth bombs. Stuff that you would never see on TV today, right? All in the Family, Archie Bunker. Archie Bunker just wants to be left alone in the bathroom to read the newspaper. That's all Archie Bunker wants to do, right? And then we get the Jeffersons, and then we get Good Times. So that shows us what it was, kind of shows us what it was like in the 70s. And then we get to the 80s. And this is where the problem started. This is where the problem started. I'm all about 80s TV shows. I love the A-Team. I love all that great stuff. It was great. It was fun. But then we had this one big flippin' lie that set us up for where we are today. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. Your life is not good enough. Look how Adnan Khashoggi lives on his boat. Look how this person has an island all of his own. Look how these people have done so much. and you people should aspire to this. What a bunch of horse apples, right? It puts this in our minds. Some of the things that we saw on television made us remember things past, or how at least we thought we would like to remember things past, even though they probably weren't that good, right? Don't see a lot of shows about the 30s and the Depression, right? Except for the Waltons. Everybody loves the Waltons. Everything was great, right? Look at the 80s. Everything, all the greed. Greed is good. You remember that from Wall Street? Made in the 90s. Looking fondly back to the 80s where greed is good. Let me tell you what you don't have. Let me embarrass you. And let me show you what everybody else, what other people have. And you have to have it too. Now, what if back in the 80s, in the 70s, or whenever, they had lifestyles of the sad and depressed? How would that look, right? That's not going to sell any newspapers. That's not going to sell any alcohol or cigarettes. What if you had life of the saints? When we show people who struggle through their lives, they're just normal people, just like you and you and you and you, but who just have one desire, not to have a gold-plated helicopter, right? Not to have a penthouse apartment in Shanghai or whatever, but just to be in heaven. Just to be in the place from where we came, ostensibly. What if we had a show that was just, there might have been a show back then. If you can find it, please show it to me. I would love to see it. I don't know what the ratings would have been, but think about it. If we had something that showed us if you strive hard to be holy, you will be in a great place forever. Man, what a TV show that would be. It would have been canceled in 2 seasons, right? Because that's hard. It's easy to sit around and go, I'll never be that rich. I'll never be this. I'll never be that. I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to watch it and I'm just going to get mad because I don't have it. But just imagine if that was programming in our minds from the beginning of our lives. Guess what? You got it. Once a week, or once a day if you choose to. It's right here in the church. If you want to know what it's like to focus on something that is so great at the end of our earthly lives and how difficult life is going to be here on earth, but we get a vision of what's at the other end. We have the never-ending TV show of what it means and what it looks like to have a good earthly life and then a perfect heavenly life. 3 things happen when you die. 1, you go to hell. 2, you go to purgatory. Or 3, you've already chunked it in and you're going straight to heaven. Right? That's the hard one. That's what we should choose for. Don't be like me, who says sometimes, I just want to crawl and fight my way into purgatory, right? And so I know I'll get there in heaven. That's not the right attitude. That's the attitude I have sometimes, because I just get tired of fighting and I don't have faith that I can be good enough to be a saint as soon as I die, right? And that's what being a saint is. A saint is somebody who's already in heaven. Somebody who might have gone straight to heaven, like the church, when we declare those who are saints, those that we know are already there. And then there's the rest of us. All of these empty faces on the walls around here, right? We notice that we don't have any pictures, faces of Jesus. We don't have a ton of pictures of the saints here. But just think about the blank slate. We are the blank slate that can, through the works of the church, through the teachings of the church, through the teachings of the gospel, we have the TV guide to help us navigate our way through what it means to be a saint. And people will say, oh, she's so patient. She's a saint. It doesn't work that way here on earth. You're not a saint on earth. You might be a really, really, really good person, right? And that's great. Maybe it's going to get you there faster. But to be a saint means that you are already in the presence of God. And when things are as screwed up, as jacked up, and as messed up as they are right now, this is the day that the church gives us to remind us of what is really important and what is really out there. Imperfect people living and loving, but having exceptional lives, right? People just like you and me who fight day after day after day to try and get it right. Some people who are good at certain things, some people who are better at other things. Some people who get the stigmata and just sit around and just people, they're just perfect because they hear confessions, they know what people are thinking. And there's some people like St. Therese of Lisieux, who is just this little nun in an out of the way place. Who, what did she do? Well, she knew she wasn't that great, but she knew that she could do little things with great love. And then there's the workhorses, the tough ones, saints like and I've forgotten her name, the other Teresa, right? Mother Teresa, right? Sorry, I'm going to get a talking to if I ever get up there. But Mother Teresa, she's the one, she's just like going at it every day, punching her way through cardinals and bishops and popes. And some of us don't have that. And some of us don't have the ability to be loving every day. But we do have all the gifts of the Holy Spirit, which have been given to us by God so that we can do that. So today we celebrate the Feast of All Saints for all those who are already there. And tomorrow we have the Feast of All Souls for the ones that we pray are already there or who are going there. And these two beautiful feasts that the church have given us remind us, even though that they might seem sad, because we look at the book of remembrance of those who have gone before us, but we get the vision of what is to come, not what it looked like, not what we remembered, but what we strive for, what we live for, and what we die for.